Back on the right stand with yet another big exclusive here on the right stand, here on CNN News 18, where after the recent terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir, top intelligence sources telling News 18 that top security agencies are worried about the use of high-end technology by Lashkar terrorists in Rajouri and Poonch. Intelligence agencies are worried about the group of Lashkar terrorists stationed in Poonch and Rajouri. Their aim is to attack mainland in Jammu and Kashmir during the G20. Now here's what our investigations editor Manoj Gupta has got us the scoop in terms of what is going to happen, what is expected. There is a Yehu stock market system. This is the tech that's being used. The other scoop is that according to highly placed sources in the intelligence network, these groups are using this YSMS technology which was used earlier in deadly attack of 2016 and 2019. A lack of digital footprint makes tracking very, very difficult. There is no digital footprint due to these encrypted messages that are being sent, and the communication is done via very high frequency using a smartphone, and the phones are without SIMs, but they are paired to radio sets and connect to each other via Bluetooth to send messages, locations, and for help in other device in case of any emergency. Now, according to sources, there are 12 people, 12 terrorists in numbers, very highly trained. Foreign terrorists is what we are given to understand. They are distributed in 3 groups, along with 3 local guides or OGWs for local support and recce and to help them with the lay of the land. So 12 terrorists, 3 groups, 4 in each group, plus 1 OGW with each one of them. So there are 15 of them in all, 3 groups, and 4 terrorists for FTs or foreign terrorists. Terrorists have come through a very safe passage, and what they do is they use these passages via the jungle routes. They attack security forces and then try and make their way back to these locations without using traceable technology, mobile telephony. Terrorists are trained by Sajid Jatt of the Lashkar-e-Taiba. These are the details that we have, and what they are trying to do is trying to create a hostage-like situation in and around G20. That's what they are trying to do desperately, trying to create something like 2611, we are given to understand. SP Vaid, former DGP Jammu and Kashmir with us, and Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow ORF with us. Namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. These are some worrying details, but high-end technology being used by the enemy now. SP Vaid ji.
Yes, Namaskar Anandji. These terrorists are highly trained, there's no doubt about it, and they do use this technology. We have come across earlier also, most of it, which is very, very difficult to intercept. And that is just to hide their communication. It's basically encrypted so that no monitoring agency is able to intercept it and know what they are communicating with their masters and with the other among themselves. So the danger continues that what they are planning, how they are planning to execute the attacks, that goes from our radar. So it is a challenge, and I think we have few agencies who do monitor. I would not like to name them here. But yes, we have agencies who do look into these aspects and do communicate. And whenever such messages are intercepted by them, they do communicate with the executive agencies, whether it is army or the J&K police or the paramilitary concern. They are desperate to cause a big incident before G20 that we all know. Sareen ji knows, you know it, and I think our viewers know how Pakistan is desperate for a major incident, major attack before G20.
No, but Sushant, one aspect is to how to counter this, to ensure that nothing like this happens. So there is the Special Investigation Team, the NIA, which is on overdrive currently in Jammu and Kashmir, cracking down on all these OGW networks. But the other aspect is also how to stitch the narrative. We need to tell the world that if there is a terror attack that happens around G20 in Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistan is behind us. And we should be able to quote Bilawal Bhutto from the SCO summit.
Completely agree with you, Anand. In fact, Bilawal Bhutto has scored an own goal by revealing the Pakistani game plan as far as the G20 is concerned. And I think what he said was pretty unambiguous. It was very clear. So yes, we will, in the case of any untoward event, we will certainly plaster it. But I would imagine that, the security forces seem to have a fairly good fix of what is happening. So, for example, Anand, one, it's a no-brainer that terrorists will use latest technologies and try and stay a step ahead of the security forces. But tell me something. Your investigations editor has got this information from whom? How do we know that what is the technology that is being used by these guys? So obviously somebody's got some fix on these fellows, right? So it's not as though we are completely blind and completely deaf to what is happening. The question, however, is that maybe unlike the older technologies, maybe it's a lot more difficult to trace these technologies and maybe even decrypt whatever is intercepted. But I think that's also a matter of time before that will be done. So I'm not unduly worried about this, but this is a cat and mouse game which continues. But if there is a major attack, then I think it is about time that the government of India makes it very clear that in the event of a major attack, there will be a major retaliation. That this will not be allowed to go unpunished. That, the Pakistanis can't hide behind these fictitious organizations which they have created like PAFF and Resistance Force Front and stuff like that. They can't be allowed to hide behind these guys. And I will not be surprised, Anand, given the kind of events that have taken place in Poonch and Rajouri, if these terrorists that you are talking about okay, they are terrorists, but they're probably Pakistani regulars. They're Pakistani regular soldiers who have been made to infiltrate. And we know that has happened in the past as well. Maybe some of them have, officially resigned from the army, at least for this particular mission, so that, in the event that they are apprehended or they are killed and, their bodies are discovered, the Pakistanis can have plausible deniability. There are enough loonies in Pakistan who will do stuff like this. So I would imagine that the government of India needs to, send a very clear, unambiguous message, not just to Pakistan, but to the rest of the world, that in the event of any major attack, there will be a major retaliation.
But this is also the perennial challenge for the security establishment and also the government of the day. One is how do you manage the narrative? But more importantly, you don't want a hostage-like situation with foreign nationals. You don't want nations to back out of Srinagar, because to have this successfully in Srinagar is a huge story for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. It's a huge story for India. And it's a huge slap on the face for the Pakistanis. And that's why we see this desperation happening, SPYG. So...
Anandji, see, you saw the statement of Bilawal Bhutto. It was a clear threat that we will give a response at an appropriate time. In fact, I tweeted on that. Look at the foreign minister of Pakistan in India threatening openly. Now, that exposes Pakistan's game plan. In fact, he came here as a spokesperson of the terrorist, as our external affairs minister said, and he appropriately put it. As far as new technology, Anandji, as Sushantji said, we have been seeing this since 1990s, when he and my Jawans had not even seen AK-47 rifle, and the terrorists came first in 89 with these rifles which we had not even exposed to. Then we had PTDs, program time devices, used in Jammu blast when General Krishna Rao was here in 95. I had not even known what PTD is. So these challenges we have faced for last 30 years. So I don't think the security forces and police and the army will be deterred by any of these technologies. We have been facing use of latest technologies by the terrorists because they go and purchase off the shelf.
Right.
For us, it takes a whole lot of procedure of the government and bottlenecks to go for a new technology. So we have been facing these issues, and I think security forces will not be tattered up because of that. And some amount of, as Sushant said, is known to the security forces.
कुछ तो पता है और बाकी का हम संभाल लेंगे. That's the belief that we have. But more importantly, Sushant ji made a very fair point that we must imply upon Pakistan that any incident around that time will be met with a retaliation 10 times that scale, and it will be direct and unforgiving. Yes, Sushant ji, quickly, and then we'll move to Pakistan.
Yeah, very, very quickly, Anand. I think it is also important, that we don't, we don't give in to this fear mongering, which the Pakistanis would very much like, that there could be a hostage-like situation. The security situation in Jammu and Kashmir is very well under control.
Right.
Both the police as well as the army is out in full force. They will ensure that nothing of the sort happens. And I'm sure they will take all the necessary precautions to ensure this doesn't happen. There might still be a terror attack, but I would be I would be extremely surprised if it was to happen anywhere near the delegate. It could happen maybe 50, 100 kilometers away somewhere, because the Pakistanis want to create a splash. But I would be very, very surprised if anything untoward was to happen while the delegates are there and the meeting is taking place.
Well, and along with the forces, along with the security forces and the establishment, we also have trust in the people of Jammu and Kashmir who will ensure that such a thing does not happen. And there is huge amount of